Now, he killed 11 people, mind you. That killed 11 people. 11 Venezuelan terrorists who were, did I say that right? Venezuelan? I think I did. I don't know how words work anymore. I have a baby making me dumb. I'm just hoping that me being dumb makes him smart. So, hello and welcome back to another episode of TLDW. Too long didn't watch. So, we have a lot to cover today. And if you see me looking over, I'm looking at my notes. Pretty soon, this computer right now has nothing plugged into it. It's just a monitor. Because again, the studio is still being worked on. But pretty soon, we'll have pretty things in the back and we'll hopefully have more decoration. I'm a very decorative girly, so you'll see more here soon. Don't worry. Work in progress. And there will be something in this cup eventually too. So yeah, and so eventually I'll be able to look here on my computer. But for now, I have my phone with my notes app that has just my list of notes. Because again, I haven't been able to see you guys in a while or record. So I've just been accumulating topics. So like whenever a new thing happens, I just immediately put it in my notes so that way I can like remember to go back later and talk about it. And some of them are interesting because they're kind of similar, or they have a kind of similar through line to them. So I'm going to try and keep those ones together so I can be like boom, 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 boom. So again, last episode, we talked about Charlie Kirk. And that wasn't segmented, obviously. It was kind of a special episode type deal because obviously it was a lot that happened there. And I had a lot to say, and it clearly is not, and it's not a topic that I find appropriate to put in with other things like this. So this is the other one though, a bajillion topics. And we are starting off in Maine, question mark? There hasn't been a whole lot happening. Again, more and more, there's been like some movement with the governor's race that's going to be happening next year, but not a ton. I'm going to wait probably till we get closer to talk about that. But I want to talk about something in Maine, but also just kind of everywhere. And I'm kind of, again, it's kind of Maine, not really, but I think that Maine parents should especially keep this in mind. I cannot speak to school systems in other states really. I did work in Colorado for a couple of years, but it was in a rural school in a much more conservative leaning town / general area. So it was very, very different, like diamond in the rough type deal. So I don't really feel as though I can speak to like a typical large like public school system or district in Colorado. So again, I'll be speaking mostly to Maine. I've been working as a sub there this is gonna be my second year. Although obviously when I'm pregnant, I'll be done. So yeah, I also am recovering from a cold, so I apologize for any sniffling or gunkiness. It just be like that. It's getting cold now. We're finally entering fall. My favorite season, the best season, unironically. I do not have a pumpkin spice latte. I'm limiting my caffeine because apparently or whatever, you're not supposed to have too much caffeine while you're pregnant. Just feels like the fun police are over my shoulder the whole time. Whatever, man. So we're gonna hop right into it. So this one is based around technology for children and internet safety, because I have increasingly strong feelings about it. I'm not gonna touch on it super long, but I wanna talk about it. And I also wanna just appeal to Maine parents in general, especially if you're Christian, to frankly at this point, remove screens pretty much altogether from your kid's life, especially if they are younger. Screens are dangerous. They are also very harmful to your child. Any excuse that is made is just that. It's an excuse as to why you should keep it. A part of me can understand, but we are in a time now where we can see the effects. Studies have shown that increase in technology usage can affect a kid developmentally. It socially stunts them. They don't have emotion. They struggle with emotional regulation, and it's addictive for a child. So just be caring about your kids' internet safety, be caring about their screen time, limit it as much as you can, if not remove it altogether. It really is worth it. The amount of times I hear about children who have behaviors and their parents cut their screen time or get rid of it altogether. And then after they get over that big hump, because your child is frankly recovering from an addiction, they're going through withdrawal from just like that kind of dopamine withdrawal from screens, they have improved behaviors. So the main thing I want to touch on though is Roblox. And that's a big one. If you don't know, Roblox is a very popular game. You can go on a server with multiple people, play different games, blah, 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 blah. It's similar-ish to Minecraft, but much less safe. Again, this is kind of main. It's not really, really main. I just didn't really have a lot to talk about with main, so I wanted to talk about the Roblox thing. So Roblox is, again, it's a video game, and a lot of children play it, but a lot of adults play it as well. And it's very, very popular with children. You can see merch of it in store, like mainstream, like Walmart. You can find stuff like that. And we're finding that it's increasingly unsafe. It's just not well regulated. There's a lot of grooming that can happen there. So if you don't know, this is going to sound ridiculous too. This is like a wild ride. So the CEO of Roblox, a little bit ago, a month or two ago, maybe a little longer, somewhere around there, I think it was over the summer, he stated that he wanted to try and add dating into Roblox. Let me just say that again. The CEO wanted to add dating into a child's video game that is multiplayer, that you connect to the internet and meet other people. He wanted to make it or have a dating mechanic. I don't think I need to explain why that's a bad idea. Why that's a really bad idea, a really stupid idea, frankly. And then it gets better. So if you're on the online space like I am, terminally online, some may say, although I can say I do touch grass as much as I can, you know that Roblox is bad. Like, it's just not safe. It's just bad. You know, anyone who knows anything online knows that it's not a safe thing for kids to be on at all. But a lot of parents don't know that, and they don't get it. They just think it's a kid's game because it's little blocky like characters and they run and hop around and whatever. But it's not safe. And there's a lot of predators on there and a lot of groomers. And there was this guy, and his name is Schlepp, and he was on Roblox, and he would catch predators. Like, and I don't mean that in like a vigilante way. I mean, he would work with the police to catch predators. He caught at least 6 that I know of. He caught 6 predators on Roblox and got them arrested. And again, he was working with the police. He was not a vigilante. He was just trying to keep children safe online. And so how does Roblox respond? Well, obviously they permanently ban him. And I think they even tried suing him or something. Like, and obviously people got really, really mad at them for that. And not to mention the fact that Louisiana is, they did like a lawsuit or an investigation. Like, they're going in on Roblox because Roblox is not safe for children. It's just not. Simply is not. And it's just one of the many cases of parents who are not willing to put in the time, or maybe they're busy, they don't fully get it. Again, like, but it's important to not be careless. The internet is such a dangerous place. And I think we think that because like we grew up when it was like even more Wild Westy. I mean, my millennial sisters tell me about how truly Wild West it was. And then when I was growing up in the early 2000s and early 2010s when I was like a kid. And so we think that it's more, you know, it's safer now. You know what I mean? It's more controlled. No. Remind yourself, the internet is still young. It's only like 3 decades old, girly. You think we got it down by then? There is still so much inappropriate content on there. And yet I see children on social media, on TikTok, just constantly having their face in front of a screen. And it's so dangerous. And the thing is, too, they have it in schools. Your child in 1st grade, at least in the district I'm in, gets a Chromebook. I mean, mind you, it is controlled because the school's internet does control what they can and cannot go on. But still, the screen time. It's so detrimental to children. And kindergartners get iPads, mind you. My favorite. So just be wary. Notice what your kids are looking at and watching. Don't just let them go on anything. Don't ever think for a second that, oh, I'm sure it's fine. Don't ever on the internet, ever, ever. So I implore you, parents, main parents, whoever parents, screen time, it's probably just safer to not do. Sometimes it's safer to just not give them the thing and to get over that FOMO that we feel. And we worry, oh, well, our kid is missing out. The only thing they're missing out on is dysregulation and not learning how to be properly socialized and stunting their development growth. That's what they're missing, which is like, I don't know. I'm actually pretty okay if my child misses that. They can miss that train. That's really fine. So just keep that in mind as parents. So anyway, that's a Roblox thing. Whatever. I just wanted to throw that in there. I don't really have, again, when big main topics come, I will be happy to talk to you about them. And we're just going to jump right in from Maine to America. So what's happening in American news at large? So they're not necessarily in super chronological order. I will try to keep them there as much as I can, but some of them kind of mesh with each other, like I said, so I'm going to keep those topics together. So the first one is Trump is cracking down on crime. Yay. Don't get me wrong. I have my criticisms of him. We talked about it in the first episode back with the whole Epstein thing. We can just leave that right now. We can just leave that there right now. I already said what I need to say. So Trump sent the National Guard to Washington, D.C., our state's, or I guess our nation's capital. And he sent the National Guard to clean up crime, get the homeless people off the streets, get rid of those 10 cities, things like that. Just not let druggies and mentally ill folk and those living on the, like those dangerous people to be wandering and just be out. They cleaned up crime. And Washington, D.C. has never looked better. And of course, the left has feelings about it because you're not allowed to hold anyone. You're not allowed to be really held accountable in any way other than if you say anything that they don't like. But you know what I mean? But they were like, oh, you're making them go seek help. What do you mean? You're making the homeless go to homeless shelters and you're not letting them just live on the street in tents and, putting needles and drug paraphernalia and whatever and literal human feces on the ground. You guys are so mean. You guys are just so mean. Girl, the amount of people I see who live in Washington, D.C. and they were like, this is amazing. I can walk onto the subway. I don't have any homeless people, any druggies, any weird people hitting me up on the street. You know what I mean? Loitering, hanging around. The 10 cities are gone. We actually can enjoy public life in our city again. I'm sorry. How's that a bad thing? So Trump again, and he's like, don't try me, other big cities. I'm coming to you next. Chicago, was Minneapolis, everywhere. Nowhere's. Well, everywhere actually will hopefully eventually be safe because none of those places are certainly safe. I don't think any of us ladies would feel comfortable walking down the streets of Chicago alone, unarmed, especially in those certain neighborhoods. So again, very, very, very good thing. And also in the sense of, so again, I hope he does it everywhere else. I'm like, can you do that here too? If you want to send the National Guard to like Bangor or something, that'd be great. Bangor could really, really use it. They're struggling. Just how bad the drug problem has gotten there is crazy. So if you want to go and clean up there too, be my guest. I am more than okay with that. And also the Dirty Lou and, all those other fun places. So, and also, he bombed a Venezuelan drug boat. And I can't say that without smiling. I'm sorry. It warms my cold Mainer heart to hear that our president actually cares about us. Now, he killed 11 people, mind you. That killed 11 people. 11 Venezuelan terrorists who were, did I say that right? Venezuelan? I think I did. I don't know how words work anymore. I have a baby making me dumb. I'm just hoping that me being dumb makes him smart. So anyway, he blew up a Venezuelan drug boat. And these were terrorists who were sneaking fentanyl, I believe it was fentanyl, into our country. So a whole drug load of it went, or a whole a whole boatload of it went into the ocean. We need to be praying for the ocean life there because those fish they must be having a really, either like the worst day ever or the best day ever. I have to like chuckle just imagining a bunch of like super high fish just like,
focus, dude. Dude. Oh, he lives. Hey, dude.
Oh, what happened?
These are terrorists. And again, like they got mad too because they were like, oh, he committed a crime. These are international waters. And also, again, these are terrorists sneaking drugs that have killed God knows how many Americans. Literally, God knows only how many Americans. And is contributing to our drug crisis. Not problem, crisis in our country. And I think he did it again. I think he bombed another boat. Like I literally just saw news about that today. Let me look that up. I'm on ground news, and ground news, like it's pretty good at like, it tells you where the sources are and who's reporting on it most, if it's like left or right or center. And I was looking at it today and it was telling me that he apparently bombed another drug boat, but it was mixed factuality. So I'll wait on that today. But anywho, it's just nice having a president who cares about us, who is willing to cut crime and help us Americans feel safe in our cities. Because that's the thing. We are America. We should not be a place where people fear homeless people, drug addicts, because not every homeless person is violent, obviously. But a lot of them can be. They're living on the street. They're living in very hard times. They're probably mentally ill in some way or going through a mental health crisis or just some kind of crisis, which is not going to be good for your psyche. And a lot of them are drug addicted and violent. And so why, and these people, and people who live in large cities don't feel comfortable going to these certain areas because they know there's a tent city over there. I'm going to have people heckling me for cash, or they're going to try and rob me, or you know what I mean? And I have to watch out for needles. That should be unacceptable here. Unacceptable. Like the fact that we as America, again, we're supposed to be like one of the strongest countries, the most powerful, like we should be a beacon of safety for our citizens. And instead we have this awful problem that no one is willing to admit. And honestly, I'm going to go straight from one to the other in the fact that a woman named Irina, who was a Ukrainian refugee who fled in, I believe, 2022, was murdered on a train in Charlotte by a man, a black man. I'm not trying to say that in any kind of way, but I do feel the need to say it because she was white and he was black. And after he killed her, he said, got that white bitch. So race seemed to play some kind of role in it, enough for him to repeatedly say, got that white, multiple times. So she got on the bus, and I believe he got on it. It doesn't matter. He was behind her. She was just sitting on her phone. You know what I mean? As one does on a bus. She has her earbuds in, and he just randomly, after sitting behind her, stabs her like 3 times in the neck. And she at first is like shocked, and no one's immediately going to help her. And I have mixed feelings about that because those people either might not have fully realized what happened because it happened very quickly. And at first she was just like you can see she's just shocked and stunned because, I mean, how else are you supposed to react? And she collapses after, and people do help her, but she sadly can't, she's succumbed to her injuries. So I pray that those people just didn't realize what was happening in the moment. I pray that because otherwise they saw a dying woman and did nothing. And I understand that man was somewhat dangerous, but the fact that no one really tried to do anything is pretty sad. Pretty sorry state our country is in, that violent crime like that can happen in a public space. And I don't know. It's just, you would hope that, again, like American women who are in America, like she was a legal refugee. The fact that she could not even safely ride a train. She could not even safely go on public transit. She was on her phone. It looked like she was headed home from work. It's just heartbreaking. And it gets worse because this man was released. He was arrested and released 14 times. He had multiple felony charges. And these weren't just like whatever crimes either. These were like a lot of them were violent crimes. And this man was allowed to walk free time after time again, 14 times between 2017 to now. 8 years. 14 felonies in 8 years. That's almost 2 crimes a year on average. They're seeking, as far as I know, they're trying to seek the death penalty now. I believe it was the mayor's response was just abhorrent because she was like, like we're praying for Irina's family. It's really bad that this happened, but also we just need to make sure that we are being aware that, we need to work on mental health in our country. And he was just going through a mental health.
No.
I'm sorry. Not every person who commits crime is going through a mental health crisis. This man committed a crime 14 times. Honestly, I can't even. What were we expecting to happen? You let this violent man go 14 times back out into society. You think it's not going to escalate? It's like when you don't discipline a kid, like they're going to escalate their behaviors. This is just this is simple math. So I pray whatever judge, whoever let him go multiple times should frankly be charged. At the very least fired. But there should be some kind of legal ramification for doing something so abhorrent. And then people were looking into it more. And the majority of crimes that happen are done by repeat offenders. Why are we not putting these people away? You commit a felony crime, you get charged, you go to jail. That's how it should be. Or you go to prison. Boom, boom, boom. The left can't say they want safety and then not actually do anything to keep people safe and then actually do the opposite in the name of empathy or compassion or whatever bullcrap excuse they're going to make. It's ridiculous. It's so dumb. This is where it's real empathy, real compassion is going, you committed a crime, you receive justice. Violent behavior, you don't get to be out in actual society anymore. You're an unsafe individual. And I worry if I release you, you will escalate behaviors and you will think that what you did was fine and that you can do it again or even more. And you put him in prison. Or in some cases, give them the death sentence. I do stand on that. Why waste the money having some abhorrent, evil people spend the rest of their lives in jail? I don't want to waste my tax dollars on their life. Some people are, 14 prior, taken him multiple times, put before a judge so many times. So I'm glad Trump is cutting down on crime. I'm glad. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that that he's doing that. I am glad that at least this man, after the 15th time, is going to prison, or possibly he will. Again, they're apparently going for the death penalty, so hopefully he won't be in prison for long. But again, we should be praying for her family. It's an awful thing that happened. And this is where, as Christians, we need to make sure we are having discernment, because we are not called to follow our emotions. We're not called to a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of a sound mind. A sound mind means thinking reasonably, practically, logically, rationally. We are not to be irrational, driven by our emotions, because when you're driven by your emotions and this misconstrued, again, toxic empathy, it leads to this. Whatever the leftists think is empathy has led to death and destruction and societal collapse. So we need to be voting for people who are of order, not chaos, who are not driven by their emotion, who will cut crime, who will give justice where justice is needed. So that's all that happened in America. And we're going to slide over to the Christian sphere about news. I mean, it's still like American news, but this is news that happened more in the Christian sphere. So we're moving from there to there. And I want to cover this kind of in order because it's kind of some of the chill, not chill, but like, you know, I'm going to save the most intense one for last because I want to be able to give it time. So first off, James Dobson died a couple months ago. He was, I believe, the founder of Focus on the Family, which is a Christian group that's been around for a long time. Anyone my age knows Adventures in Odyssey. Banger. Great radio. I remember listening to that on the way to school. We had DVDs. I'd listen to it every night before bed. That was really all I did at Focus on the Family. So I was never involved in it. My family, I don't think, at least during my time, my sisters remember my parents doing some stuff with or looking at some stuff with Focus on the Family, like their movie critic thing, which seems to be a really, really bad. But regardless, so not bad as in evil, but bad as in just like, you know, that evangelical farting is inappropriate and sinful or whatever. You shouldn't watch the movie or, you know, things like that. Anywho, I'm getting off topic. So James Dobson passed away. He was pretty old. And it's interesting I talk about this because I can call back to Charlie Kirk now in the sense of people were happy that James Dobson died. Because I guess the biggest, because I mean, first off, he was conservative. So I mean, I believed a lot of stuff that he did. I don't agree with everything he said specifically. He went a little like too like conservative traditional, less just actually Christian traditional, which happened, you know, again, those views were whatever to me. And again, I didn't really know the guy. So when he died, it was like, oh, okay, dang, bummer. Sorry. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, that sucks. Like, pray for his family. You know, that's hard. At least he was old. You know, he died, you know, he lived a long life, but some people were celebrating online, I remember. And it wasn't huge, obviously, because I mean, he wasn't as like hugely known a figure, clearly, and it was apparently because he had some pretty interesting views about parenting. Like, I mean, using switches and belts to spank your children, which, I mean, that's definitely dated. Now, mind you, I was spanked, but my parents did the modern spanking of wooden spoon. I still get flashbacks. I kind of joke. My sisters always say that when I was like 6, because I got spanked a lot. I was not a good, I want to clarify, well, not, I was like a horrible kid, but I had listening problems as a child. I was very chaotic. So I got spanked, which again, deserved, you know what I mean? I'm not actually traumatized by it, but apparently when I was 6, whenever like I would be acting up and everything and out of line, and my parents would go to spank me, I would be like, no, not the pank and poon. So anyway, that's why I joke about it. But switches and belts are definitely not what I would think to be appropriate for a child. And spanking is also something that, I mean, my personal opinion, if you even care, is it should probably be the last thing you do. Spanking is not effective for all children. It is for some. And if you do it right, you should hardly ever really have to spank your children. In my opinion, some people have different opinions. Some of my sisters have different opinions. That's totally fine. That's my thing. And so I guess a lot of people were affected by it, which again, you have a right to be. You know what I mean? But celebrating death, being happy somebody died, being like, oh, I hated him, he was awful, that's unacceptable. And it's kind of interesting because I saw that and I thought of, and again, I was like looking back on my notes and I was like, man, it's kind of interesting that a lot of the same people who celebrated one man's death is celebrating another's. And the thing is, this is in an escalated form because he was younger, Charlie was younger, violently assassinated publicly. I think James Dobson just privately died. You know what I mean? Like he just died like how most old people die who are famous. You know what I mean? They're usually with their families. Even if it is sudden, it's usually not a violent public assassination. But yeah, so I just thought that was interesting. Just a little note to touch on, but it made me think of Charlie Kirk. I wanted to also bring up the fact that there was a shooting in Minneapolis. Also want to clarify now, there was a shooting that happened in Colorado the same day as Charlie Kirk, within like, I think literally like an hour or so of each other. So we should be praying for them as well. I meant to bring it up at the America segment, so I'm going to put it in here. There was a shooting that happened. So it was indeed the shooter fatally shot himself or themselves and injured 2 others who have, from what we can tell, survived, which is good. I want to talk about that in the American segment. I didn't, so I'm going to talk about it here. But the shooting in Minneapolis, I want to point out in the Christian segment for a specific reason, and that is because this was largely children who got injured. There were 2 children who died, and this was done during Mass. This was done at a school. It's a school and they attend Mass at the church, and they were a Catholic school. So they were attending Mass, and this was in the morning, like almost like first thing. And this person shot through the stained glass windows and killed 2 children and injured 21 others. 21 others, which included adults. But and the videos from it were heartbreaking, after just the parents running to see their children and see what was happening. And I can't even, it's hard to imagine being in that situation of just fear as a parent and heartbreak, and 2 families mourning the loss of their child, which is just not fair. And another thing I wanted to point out is the fact that at one point the shooter was trans-identifying. I don't know if they were right up until the attack. It seemed to be kind of mixed, but at one point they were trans-identifying, and they wrote a manifesto and they posted it to, I believe, YouTube. And so you can see multiple notes, and they posted a video about it, and just the picture they drew, it was of themselves looking into a mirror. They had a gun on their back, and in the mirror was a demon. I mean, it looked like one of those like Baphomet or whoever demons, but it was a demon. And we were not called to a life of comfort as Christians. We are going to be persecuted for our faith. The world will hate us. And again, the people I have seen online, like, it's so interesting with the Charlie Kirk thing, because I think it's like the strongest example, because it's like the most outright violent, shocking one. But the flooding at Camp Mystic, the children in a Catholic church, like innocent children and adults, like being shot at and killed and injured. And the left is like, well, I mean, they deserved it because they were probably conservative and Republican. And I mean, I even remember they're doing the same thing with Hurricane Helene when it was flooding in North Carolina and other states. And they were like, well, you know, they're mostly MAGA out there anyway. So, you know, this is their karma. This is their retribution. We know we will be persecuted. And usually that means you're doing something right. If Satan hates you and wants to snuff you out, that means you are pursuing God's kingdom. And we are not called to a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. That's like my life verse as someone who has struggled with anxiety for a long time and OCD. Just power, love, and a sound mind that are given to us by our God. So just remember that. Take heart in that, because it's an awful thing that happened. We need to be praying for those families. Pray for the shooter's family. I was going to say shooter. I believe the shooter died. So we just It's just heartbreaking though. And then again, there's the fact that people are so okay with death when it's people they disagree with is heartbreaking, disgusting, abhorrent. It just is not, it shows how sick our world is and how sick certain worldviews are. Some worldviews are just evil and based in evilness. And a lot of the people don't see it, right? Like so many leftists like are leftist and liberal because they are just like us. They're trying to do good. They're trying to spread good. They're trying to make the world a better place. And we just have different opinions about it. But they're so misguided. And it's based on emotion and irrationality. And that's why conservative stances have essentially stayed the same. Like there's not really been any huge change or movement there. And it is constantly changing on the left. And if you don't follow their just like ever changing, someone used the word online, nebulous views, then you're evil to them and abhorrent. And apparently you deserve to die. When they killed Charlie Kirk, when they killed these children, and when they celebrate the deaths of those they disagree with online, they're celebrating your death. They are hoping you die. They hate you. And that's why we need to be praying for them. Because honestly, a lot of people have woken up. Like they have realized, like the amount of people on the left who are like, I don't want to be a part of the left anymore. This is awful. This is like the amount of people online who are evil. Like again, there's been good that has come from this situation, like the Charlie Kirk situation. And I see it bleed into these, and they have similarities because history rhymes. There's nothing new under the sun. But yeah, it's been a lot. Again, it's a lot. And again, that's where we need to be praying, growing stronger in our faith, standing on our faith now more than ever. We are here with a job, with a purpose. We have a future and a hope. And it may not be what we want or where we think we should be, but it's exactly where we must be. So let's be praying that the will of God is made known and clear as we carry forward into these tumultuous times in our country. And we need to be making sure that we are loving those who hate us in action. I'm not saying hold hands with them, sing kumbaya, but loving these people in an actionable way, spreading the love of God because we are all sinners. All of us have fallen short. Every single one. The only difference is that some of us have been made new and there are those who have not yet. We need to be praying for those who have not yet because God can work in anyone. It's not up to us who. And we need to be spreading those seeds as much as we can, hoping that it lands on that good soil. Anywho, I am praying we have better news in the next following weeks. I'm not, it's the world, so we should only expect what, we should have minimal expectations there. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, a lot of topics, a lot of different things we covered today, kind of caught us back up. So hopefully I should be talking about more recent events. We'll be kind of catching ourselves up pretty soon here. And as time goes on, you'll slowly see me have to bring the mic further this way as my belly gets bigger, because right now it's still pretty small, but eventually I'm going to be all the way over here. So, I took off my hip band for this. You're welcome. Anyhow, again, I hope you guys had a wonderful time. Wonderful time. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, tell me about it in the comments. Please be normal about it. If you do, please be normal. Please. I'm begging you. And follow us pretty much anywhere. I have a TikTok, Reforming Grace. I'm going to be posting more videos on. I have a Twitter. Also, I think under the same name, Reforming Grace, or Grace Reformed. So we'll put that there. And we have a TikTok, an Instagram, a Twitter, it's all, and Facebook, Christ in ME. Follow us there, stay updated. If you do subscribe here, make sure to ring the bell so that way you're notified whenever we come out with new content. And I will see you guys next time. Have a great week.